Hey, you're on.
All right. All right, welcome all. We'll go ahead and do the IT committee meeting. First, minutes of the 24 February. I move it. Okay, we got a motion from Sam. We have a second. Got a second. Okay, so all in favor? Aye. All opposed? Right. Okay, the admin out of the way. We now turn to our IT department.
Okay, so I'll start with, I should have grabbed one. Projects are the first one on the list. I don't have any new additions on the projects for this month, but I do want to point one out specifically, which is the CAD RMS and mobile. That's been a massive project with a massive undertaking, a little more than 18 months, that we went live on March 10th. So I just wanted to bring that up. There's obviously a few bumps in the road from here to the, expected, but I just can't overstate the amount of work that went into this project. And the fact that we are running live completely with public safety and with the sheriff's office. And I definitely want to commend Tim Hardy and Todd Lemery, because they and their teams have been absolutely critical and put in, I can't even tell you how much work, or in any words that would probably make a lot of sense here, but they've put so much work into this project and the build and configuration of this application, and then the training of all the staff. It's just been really, really intense. It's been a very intense 18 months and really ramped up the last 6 months. So that's moving forward. I'm gonna leave it on here for a little bit. We do still have a phase 2, coming with that, but just wanted to mention that. Anybody have any questions on the projects report? All right, and the next report, I believe, is the ticketing. That's on the list. Okay. So the ticketing report is the monthly report that I put out. Does anyone have any questions on the ticketing report?
Like steady state.
Yeah, I would say so. And the last report is the cybersecurity report. A couple of things that I'd like to note on there. One is Under the fish prawn stats, please ignore the odd last month. It really has to do with February being a short month and the dates that our new fishing campaign has fallen on. So they'll even out, statistics will even out, but that's the reason it looks so odd. Ryan did attend some cybersecurity conference this past month, but one of the bigger things I wanted to mention, which I think Laura may have already touched on in the previous meeting, is that he did last week on Thursday, I believe it was Thursday night, did a cybersecurity training presentation to available to all local towns, villages. It is recorded. So if anybody couldn't attend and you're interested in seeing that session, just let Ryan know. You can call him or email him and he'll send you a link so that you can download a link to that session. I can't, overstate enough cybersecurity and how big it is and absolutely everything that we do these days. And so anybody that isn't familiar or that would like some more information or just wants to talk about it either in relation to your towns, villages, or just even personally, feel free to reach out anytime. I'm very happy to help. Does anyone have any questions on this report at all?
Can I go back to the ticket one?
Oh, of course.
On the way off, what do we do?
So that would have been for Laserfiche access or the software for records keeping. Probably you had somebody in there that was a new user. Do you have a new clerk or anything like that? So that would be why getting that user account set up.
Only 15 minutes, John.
Okay.
It sounded like a guilty conscience question. That's kind of weird.
Well, I wondered if someone messed up and you had to straighten some out or.
Yeah.
It was real quick because it was 0.03%. That's about as fast as you can get anything accomplished in one go. Of course, you required more than an hour.
That is true.
We take it off the feet here.
I'm gonna break it down and run for you. All right. Anything else to come before this meeting? Well, in that case, appreciate Ryan and team's hard work.
Well, thank you all very much.
With that, gavel belongs to.
Government committee meeting.
It didn't work, you have to throw it.
All right. We're gonna call the meeting to order for government ops. Mr. Ducharme, you come up and we'll do your question first, so you don't have to sit through this.
I have no problem sitting.
You see, come on up here.
It's all in the presentation.
It's probably crafty.
I don't need to sit.
Have a seat.
All right, well, thank you for inviting me. I'm James Ducharme. I'm the newer superintendent at Cambridge Central Schools. I started there July 1. I spent the last 10 years across the river in Schuylerville as the high school principal there. I'm here today to request a reduction in the cost that we pay for our tax file. Being at Cambridge, school district spans over 2 different counties. A year ago, the school district created their own system for being able to upload both tax files into one system for our efficiencies. And to my understanding, profit businesses that have requested their tax files from the county before have to pay a fee. School district is not a profit entity, and we are in a situation, as some of you know, as I've presented at your town meetings over the last 2 to 3 months, we're in a huge budget deficit of about $1.7 million. And so we're looking at every different avenue we can to be more efficient, to save money, and to make sure that what we're doing from a business standpoint makes a lot of sense for our taxpayers. And so in this case, what I am here today is really, in any situation that a school district has to pay for a tax file, is requesting a reduction in the fee from $1,500 that it currently is to something that is more feasible. We suggest $300, but ultimately that decision sits here. I'm just here to advocate on behalf of my district for that reduction in fee.
Now, you give us a little brief example of what the TCS system does.
So Miranda's on her way in.
I just heard it.
Okay.
Oh, popped on YouTube.
Go ahead. You have-
I'll fill in some of my part of it, and then Miranda obviously will want to weigh in on her part. So basically, this is filling the history gap. We had all of the towns, villages, and schools on my tax collection system. And each of them paid a annual maintenance fee, like $382 or whatever it is. Somewhere in that area, right? Cambridge is a very unique school district in that they have Washington County properties and Rensselaer County properties. So they made a decision to leave the countywide tax collection system. They're still actually with the same company, which is nice. They still use Systems East, which is our company. But Systems East gave them their own platform that then includes both Washington County properties and Rensselaer County properties. So it makes the job for the collector much easier and much more efficient, right? But there's a blowback on our side of it, because now we have one of our entities not in our system. So they have to turn over all their unpaid properties, and then that becomes a manual entry into our system. You can't see any of the bills when you look them up. So there's some, glitches in the giddy up, as they used to say. Maybe nobody ever said that. I just said it. So that's kind of the filling in the gaps of how we got here, right? The file part of it, Miranda could address, but the collection part of it, that's kind of the long and short of why we're here, right? They found a better way to collect for 2 counties in the same system. But it's not without its little, nuances on our end.
And currently Rensselaer County does not charge us for our tax file for that, which is, I'm assuming, much smaller because we have less properties in Rensselaer County than Washington County.
I would assume it'd be smaller.
Yeah.
Now, when you enter the Washington County properties in your system, do you have to do it all manually?
So we worked with TCS on finding a way of taking their unpaid sheet. I don't believe that we had to manually enter it. It's a manual process, but we didn't have to key in 100 properties.
Okay.
Because Systems East worked with you. Originally, that's how it was gonna be.
Originally, it's
You
gonna
were
be a
have
manual,
to key in for 200 manual entries into your system because you couldn't import the file. So Systems East worked with you guys and they found a way to separate the files and to be able to back them into his system.
Thank God.
Yes. Yeah, so that's an extra step right before the town county bills, when we have a 2-week turnaround time from collection to basically what he has to do to us getting the information, processing the bills and getting them out for January 1st.
But the platform allows an extraction of those unpaid and then import it into your side, right?
It does now, right? We work with the vendor and making that.
So from my end of it, it comes to, we have this file that's called the 160D1 file, and that's what we give to all the, like Al. The school districts don't require it because everyone's through Al's system. So we charge outside entities $1,500 for this file, and there's a huge conversation when it was brought up. What we do with Cambridge, because they are now choosing not to be on our system. So at that point, it was brought to you guys and we made the decision that they should be charged. For at least last year.
So,
And I don't know if this is prevalent, where do you say that? In Rensselaer County, there's no special districts. Well, in Washington County, there are special districts. Don't you oversee that, Al? You know, like water, fire departments,
I just collect supervisor.
you just like, so
I
you
just collect.
you don't have to keep track of those.
That's.
They all get kept tracked in the 160D1 file. It's like an output that our RPS state program puts out to be able to work with other texts.
So that's within the Washington County system.
Dave,
So this special file that they're getting, are there any other nonprofits or municipalities that pay that fee?
So thankfully, everybody else is on my system, but they are charged a maintenance fee from, to be on that system.
And we're the only one that spans 2 counties, right?
No.
Or are there other ones that span 2 counties?
Hudson Falls spans 2 counties, we just had an issue with that this past year.
Nothing false says Warren, Washington,
And Saratoga.
and
I don't
Saratoga.
have Washington,
Yeah.
Essex.
But you have Essex, right, you're away, right?
Sure. Are you planning on coming onto the Washington County system in the future?
I would say unless we can find a effective and efficient way to import our Rensselaer County properties. Because I believe that was our issue 2 years ago, and prior to that, is we would have be on 2 different systems. Today now we're on 1 system, which is the same vendor, we just have to export file.
I wish somebody had come to see me before that decision was made. That's the only downside. I wasn't even asked if that was possible.
I wasn't there at the
Yeah,
time.
I understand.
Listen, there was a lot of things that occurred at that district before I got there that I didn't answer for.
What I would put out there respectfully is, I don't know that I would entertain, and this is my personal opinion only, so take it for what it's worth. I don't know that I would entertain any fee that's less than we charge everybody else. Because all you're gonna do then is tell everybody else, oh, I can get a free ride if I leave that system. All right, so be cautious in charging 0, right? So I agree that maybe 1,500 is big, none of my damn business. But I don't know that 0 is something that I would encourage, because if we get more people dropping out of the system, then it becomes a big, right? So there probably should be a fee, and it probably shouldn't be any less than what we charge other entities to participate.
Any other nonprofit entities?
No, our other schools, villages, towns. Right, I wouldn't want to discount you any further than we charge them. That would feel unfair.
And we've put so much time and money into becoming 1 system that we also don't wanna go backwards at the same time, because we are staffed for how we have the systems right now. If we break back off into other people having their own databases and now having to do this for more than just 1 school district, then we're gonna have to add in some staff back for the local.
Is there a calculation for how you determine the fee for those other school districts?
I would have to work with the IT specialist. The fee's not determined by me.
Okay.
So we get charged a fee by the vendor. And we take a piece of that fee and share that among all the participants. So it's like a timeshare. You have a piece of the program. So if my fee doesn't increase, neither does yours. But if my fee increases, we bump you up a little bit. But like I said, I feel like it's under $500. 382 is like a number that's stuck in my head. You might remember.
Yeah, that sounds like.
Yeah, it's not an exorbitant fee, but it's kind of your piece of,
It's $400.
it's no more than that for sure.
So the $1,500 fee, is that charged?
Well, no, he had his hand up, one time.
How many other entities are paying 1,500?
The private ones like CoreLogic, which is now called something else, Loretta, Wells Fargo, your like mortgage agencies.
So they buy the 160D1 file for their own private purposes. It's easier for them to get all their payments in and they buy our file. So for Cambridge, they made their own system, so they buy our information to support the system that they chose.
So everyone else is paying $1,500.
No, not everybody else. Private for,
That was my question. If you get $1,500 for all 17 towns,
that's,
right?
For the
which
one
is a
big
valid
file.
point.
And then, so, I mean, can you break out just one town and then,
So at the time, it's not on my fee schedule to break it down into a specific town. Or by town, it's one file, one cost, so that's what we did. We can talk about changing our fee schedule to make it accommodating.
And are we the only nonprofit paying 1,500?
You're the first one to leave the system.
So we're the only nonprofit paying 1,500.
Yeah,
What percentage of your school district is Washington County?
The majority are correct.
I would say about probably estimate of 94%. I know how many students I have in Washington County. Quick doing the math in my head, 94%. Of students, but there's still other properties in Rensselaer counties without students. I think it's 58 total households of students in Rensselaer County. By 748 kids.
So I just had a thought. Probably went through all this, would it be cheaper for you to come back to Washington County, have the others come in, since we could import them, right, from TCS?
Well, I want to work with the vendor because obviously it's doable because he's using the same vendor. All right, so obviously it's doable because they're doing it. He's collecting for 2 counties now in my system.
So right now, we're making them whole for the taxes that are unpaid, right?
We do that for, by law for all.
yeah, see,
So I guess, how soon do you need a decision? Because would it give Al time to talk to the vendor to see if there was a way, first, a couple ideas, first to see if you can move back into our system and Al can talk to the vendor to see if there's a way of doing it, then you would go back to the same fee that the other schools are paying. Or number 2, maybe there's an option that you're talking to Al and have given him a chance to work it out. Maybe there's a system where you pay what the schools are, but you pay another figure that's not as much as the 1,500, but somewhere's in there to be some kind of a penalty because you left the system, so then everybody doesn't pay the system and make a problem, but get you down there where the other schools are, but yeah, right, those are just options, somewhere's between what the other schools are paying you 1,500, but working with the vendors, possible, is probably the best way, the cheapest, you can't have it for every school district.
When we were in your system, we had to manually enter all of our Rensselaer County into a separate system. So for us, it was an efficiency piece, right? Because we have Washington County and Rensselaer County. So I think if, for our standpoint was we were entering into 2 different systems to where now we enter into the one system, the same platform you're using, and then we can separate that file into Rensselaer County and Washington County.
That was my earlier point. I didn't mean it disrespectfully. Nobody come and asked.
No,
If that was even possible. I could have saved you a lot of headache. Because obviously it's possible because you're doing it in my vendor. So we now know it's possible. Because you're doing it.
How do the other schools do it that are straddling counties? Did anybody check that? Maybe there's
They're
another
probably
option.
trudging along in 2 separate systems.
Well, I used to do Essex County on the old fashioned green paper ledger.
Yeah.
And Washington County, I did through.
In the system,
Yes,
right.
that's how I did it.
But we now know the system can handle it.
Right.
We now know the system can handle it because
And
we're
if
doing.
we charge and they don't come back onto our system and get the 160D1 file from Rensselaer County, and that's only a very small portion of your parcels, even if you have to enter those in manually into one system, it'll save you $50 sometimes.
When is the county's due date for 1,500 for our tax file? When we can request?
Well, you won't get another file now until July, August. Well, the
They
bills
won't
go
get it.
out September,
Yep, so they'll get it once we send out the files anyways,
so September.
end of August.
And I'm more than happy to meet with you and your collector and business manager, anybody that you want. I'm happy to sit down and discuss options, absolutely.
But I need time if I'm gonna change my
schedule.
fee schedule, I need 2 months to be able to go through my government ops meeting and all, what I need to do on my end.
So my request with that timeline would be to pay a reduced fee for the upcoming year, the upcoming file, and work over the next 10 months on exploring the option of going back into your platform and doing what the option of doing it the older way would look like.
And I think that's a reasonable request.
And so to pay a reduced fee of what any nonprofit will pay, because unlike some of the companies that were listed, this falls right back on my taxpayers, right? Like regardless. So whether we're paying 300 or paying 1,500, it's a cost that goes back across our taxpayers.
And my,
And so
my
we
only
gotta keep that
request was to not have it any lower than what everybody else is. I don't personally have an issue with a reduced rate.
What would you recommend for reduced rate now?
I wouldn't care if they were charged what everybody else was charged. The 382, 400 or whatever it is.
So.
Again, I'm giving you my personal opinion. The fee's not mine, it's Miranda's.
Right.
Miranda's the one we need to ask.
Brenda. Can't see you. That's in the way.
Hi.
You have a problem with rating too, while we work out the other issues?
So. No, not now.
I think we should go a little bit higher, actually. Cause I think Cassie had a good point, and we don't wanna encourage other people
Right.
and have a mass exodus.
And efficiency sometimes costs money to get theirs.
So why don't we suggest like $500?
John,
So,
did you have anything?
No.
Okay.
so I would make a mo.
Well, no, Scott.
Amanda, do you have man or woman hours in those,
Always.
when we talk about the fee, is there more than just the fee to be the system? Do you have work being done here on it should be coming together?
It's out up.
Sam?
So $1,500, if that's split over your whole tax base, what do you think that impact is in the taxpayers? Pennies?
Yep.
So that's what's gonna cost to have to do the project. I mean, when you're talking pennies, I understand what you're $1 million, that's not even gonna get you where you need to be, it's not gonna change anybody's tax bill. $1,500. That's the one to original.
No.
If you look at it from that perspective.
No, you're right, and that's where my request is for us to just be treated like a not-for-profit, not a private enterprise.
So. I'm gonna make a motion that we reduce fee for $500 for the 1 year. While we work on bringing them back into the system if we can, and exploring which is better for everybody concerned. May provide a lesser cost to them.
Bill and Sue second. Any more discussion?
I just wanna clarify, so we're not changing my fee schedule. Right, we're just gonna, you guys have a reduced rate for this year.
Correct. Yep. You have something, Scott?
No,
Anybody else? And we'll vote. All those in favor of Dave's motion to reduce the fee down to 500?
Aye.
Alright,
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. We have a reduction to $500.
Thank you very much.
And I suggest you get Al's phone number.
Oh, they have it.
Okay. And reach out to him and,
They never
decide
decide.
one for next year. I think you really can find a very efficient way to do this.
And we've actually had a very nice conversation with the school already, so they're great partners already.
Okay.
Perfect. Thank you, everybody. Have a
All
good
right,
day.
nice meeting you. Okay, Lisa, I'll go back to the regular agenda.
All right, so my first is a request to change the staffing pattern. We had a resignation of a full-time position in our DMV, one of the licensing clerks. And I am asking that this be moved on to personnel to make it 2 part-time positions instead of 1 full-time. The benefits is that I can bring back a veteran of 10 years plus who needs no training and has already completed the new driver system, so she knows both systems. One position would be for 20 hours and one would be for 15 hours. So that we could focus on the training of a new person for those 2 days. The savings in salary is approximately $1,800. Insurance savings is approximately $10,500. Holiday vacation sick time is approximately $6,100 for a total of $18,450.96 at a minimum.
So for clarification, you're
Yes,
gonna
sir.
take the one full-time.
Yeah.
Eliminate that position from your staffing pattern, go to 2 part-times.
Correct.
Okay.
I'll make a motion, to move our personnel.
Dave has a motion. Darlene, Bill, second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Go to personnel.
Lisa, give me a shout before personnel.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yep.
Thanks.
Look at where my numbers came from.
Well, I talked about one of them.
Oh, and Sarah helped me with the benefit, so thank you for that. The next thing, I just want to give an update on the whole shutdown of the DMV system. It went pretty smooth for us. We closed Friday, February 13th at 1:45. We had a couple of people in the foyer answering questions, dealing the brunt of people's frustration that DMVs and all across the state were closed and they couldn't do it online and such. We were actually able to open Tuesday about 2:30. We did what we call a soft opening, where we did mostly registrations, which is the old system, and not so much with the driver's license system. It gave us an opportunity to use some of our own staff as guinea pigs as we had them renew their licenses with the new system. A lot of it was just finding where stuff is located. When you're searching up someone's driving record, it's in a different spot than it was in the old system. Right now, I would say the staff is doing really well with the new system. Our lines have not been too crazy comparatively. Our biggest frustration that we have been working with the other clerks and DMV is the reconciliation. So there's reconciliation reports due every single day and at every month about how much the state gets, how much we get. So we're gonna still work through that. It's been a little over a month now and we're still having some frustration. But all in all, even with the closing for that long weekend, we're still up. Revenue was up $5,800 for the month of February over last year's revenue. So we're doing well. Revenue for the DMV this year is just for the 2 months is up 22,000. So that was just kind of update. And then the last thing was I wanted to apply for individual service grant with the local government records management improvement fund. I will be working with real property in the Washington County Sheriff's Department. We have to do a lot of retraining. We have a lot of new clerks in our towns and staff. So we have to do a lot of retraining and training this year. So we wanted to scale back a little bit, not add any more big entities from outside the county. And we also have archivist is leaving April 4th. So we need to have a new archivist. She's moving, literally moving.
The grant is for how long?
It's just for a year,
1 year?
June to,
Is there any cost to the county for this grant?
we used to apply for it. They either give us money or they don't.
Okay,
So move.
Dave makes a motion.
Second.
Lance, Bill, second. All those in favor of moving this to finance?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Well, yeah, unless there's any questions.
Run.
Yes, ma'am.
It's on the archivist,
Yes.
it before. But. You just cut off, having a person there.
Well, we have the clerk down there. So because of changes before, we have a clerk, the archivist Grace has been training her, so she is up to date. So things will continue. I had Grace reach out to current archivist, have her reach out to all the people, you know, in the county and in the towns and villages that she's worked with, just so that she knows, so there's kind of a smoother transition. And we'll see what happens. So that has to go. Has to be backfilled. It has to go for personnel, all that. So but we're gonna keep moving on. With her. Yep, thank you.
We're
Yes,
thankful that Polestar really is in business because the headline would be that Washington County loses Grace.
great one.
Don't encourage him.
I know. Are you gonna interview, are they gonna interview you for that?
Oh. Is there anything else for Lisa?
Run, Lisa, run.
All right, have a great day, guys. Thank you.
Matt, come on up, sir. You have updates for us?
Just up. It's much, things came up. Yesterday, there's a little bit of action on. Start with the parks, scheduled, this month, doing the roof, that's what we talked about last month, the state provided the materials for, so we're gonna try to get that done, you know. As long as they give us some good weather to do the roof, get it done. The lifeguard course, one was held pretty successfully, on winter break from school, and the next one is held, on April break. You know, any residents or kids around that want to be lifeguards, be sure to send them to the youth bureau, because they're the ones that take the request. Right now, it looks like we're in good shape for our staffing. I mean, got a little bit of time, and some things happen. Sometimes kids will get different job between now and then, or an internship, which is great. But right now, it looks like we're gonna probably have one of our easier years for staffing that we've had in a little while. So, we're just. Roger said every time it's an easy days. I know they go away. Well, we're hitting, you know, lifeguards are, you tend to draw families in. Then the younger ones will do it, and then the younger ones will do it, and sometimes when they age out, you leave a big hole, and that's really what a lot of it is. And right now, we're in a good trend. So we got people having more kids to. Kids that want to be lifeguards. There's a lot of responsibility for these lifeguards. I mean, the course that they put on is excellent. I don't know if you know what the requirements are to be a lifeguard, but it's pretty physically strenuous. It's pretty impressive what they have to do. They have to swim down to the bottom of the pool, pick up a 10-pound weight, you know, swim that all the way back. You know, there's a lot of stuff, and the school with the Schuster pool to do it. So I have a lot of respect for the lifeguards. The kids at that age don't always want responsibility, and you know, finding the ones that do are pretty good. So, next update, Annex 1. We're working on decommissioning building. Working with Terry's crew. The last thing we have to figure out is how to get the IT hub out of there so we can kind of shut it down and you know, do away with any of the maintenance or utility bills that go along with that building. So if anybody asks you what we're doing with Annex 1, that's what we're in the process of. The next thing I have is a little bit of action. Our maintenance contracts with Eastern Heating and Cooling. Sometimes once a year, we have 8 of them. And they're always 3-year contracts. They've always renew on odd years, different months. So last year, with all the change in equipment and all the updating at the different buildings we've done, I stopped some of the contracts around like last fall. Didn't keep up with them because it was equipment that we didn't have. And I requested them to take all the contracts that we have they can't wrap them up in one because the contracts are separate for different kinds of equipment, but so we could start them all on the same date. Then 3 years, they run out on the same date. Because what we do is, we ask for a waiver of the purchasing policy because we have a control system and then you have, you know, a mechanical contractor for this, and then you have, you know, another mechanical contract for that. So when I first started here, it was constant service calls with one point one way, one point the other. The benefit of going with one company is Eastern is our only provider for controls. They're the only ones that provide automated logic. We're in the Northeast region, so that's who you have to go through for our control system. So I worked on them pretty hard at the time. And they've worked out, but they do a good job. They're responsive. When you call them for a breakdown, you know, they own it now. Like, so it isn't, you know, it isn't the mechanical company and say, hey, oh, it's a control problem. So then you call the control company, they come out, it's 4 o'clock. Then they say, well, no, it's an electrical problem. We don't do that. And then you call electric, you know, so you recovered a lot of savings. So anyways, that's where I am with the contracts. I just got yesterday all the contracts, and I talked to our purchasing, and they said, yeah, just get a waiver for them in government ops, but you gotta do it individual, because each one's an individual contract. So I'm just gonna list down the contracts, and they are 3-year. They have a 5% increase each year built in. I'm just gonna give you the first year number, and you know, I guess we have to make a resolution to waive the purchasing policy. I don't know if we can do it all at once.
Hey, we
In
do.
one,
I'd rather I guess, say what the contracts are first, and then if they're sole source, so we would have to waive procurement first, and I think we vote on.
I think the board has a form now for waiver from procurement that be filled out.
all right, I talked to Barb this morning. She said it was only for these we had to go to. There's only a few of them that go over the limit. Some of them are actually under. But I said, well, I just bring them all. I can fill out the
We just check with Deb, but I know there's a form there.
form. Okay. The controls contract, 36,500. The law enforcement center, HVAC, 12,538. All the outbuildings, what we call them, which are going to do DPWs, the Head Start, the LEAPs, any building that isn't part of this campus, this main municipal or law center, is $27,048. The main campus chillers for this building are $7,940. The main campus boilers are $9,350. The dispatch system is separate from everything else, has its own system. That's $1,996. The IT data center has its own system that's separate from everything else. It's $1,996 also. And then our Burgoyne campus, as that comes off of warranty, it would be $7,685. So grand total 105,053, which is budgeted at budget time. There's no budget difference. Like I've already budgeted for it, but just really consolidated. So we do this one time instead of every other month coming with a different contract renewal.
Dan, how do you want the motion to read?
Just want to make sure I got the right numbers here.
I'll have a question. What is looking?
Dan, because in the aggregate, they're over 50,000, do you see any harm in just doing an actual board resolution? I know each one of them, I know each one is under, but in the aggregate, it's over, so.
I
don't
think
think
there's
there's any
one board resolution covering the entire amount.
I'd like that.
Yeah, I can split them out in the
Yeah,
resolution.
I think I'd be
So
comfortable
everybody
with
knows
that.
what they're doing.
I'm good with that.
So I'll make whatever motion that Dan wants.
Yeah,
I think that's the first one.
I'm good, whatever. I'm trying to streamline it for myself. 'Cause
You
it's
want-
hard to keep track of all.
You want to
bring
write
it all
a
the time.
motion?
There should be a motion to approve the 8 contracts in the aggregate of 105,053, and I said I'll break them out the right version, so we know what each one is.
So go to finance.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very good
That was
motion, Dave.
Finance.
Very good motion.
Second.
Darlene second.
There is a, if we're gonna go to finance, that's even better, because there is, there may be a change in the building. I will for I don't know, but there might be some equipment that I actually take off this contract,
Brian?
you know, so it might lower it.
Can you tell us what's exactly in that? Is it just them to respond and do the work, or is it actual
So
equipment that they replace?
there's a certain amount of hours every year for like controls, there's 22 hours every quarter. And that's a guy, and they come, they update all our, you know, controls and, work on individual
So that's like
projects.
preventive maintenance.
Yes.
Kind of like a retainer as well.
Yeah, and then there's the materials for all the preventive maintenance for all your boilers and furnaces. The air conditioners are, air conditioning and HVAC is twice a year. The Liebert units, which are the ones for the IT, which are a specialty, and there's actually 4 of them down at the law center too for their different, data centers inside the jail. Those ones are twice a year, and, you know, there's a list of stuff that's included this
So
big.
let's
in each
ask it
one.
a different way. What doesn't it cover?
It does not cover if we call and there's a part broken. Like if they come out
They have to.
and
so
replace a
replacing part,
compressor, right,
They don't-
we still have to pay for the compressor on that.
I just
But it does give us
want
the
everybody to
preference.
understand
Right.
what it does.
It gives us the preference. Now, if they come on a service, all the parts and pieces are included in the service that they need.
Maybe the best $100,000 you spend.
No.
Yeah, well,
Well, it's really worked out because I know, like I track in my budget, like I don't know if at budget time, I do a great job. We do outside contractor, repair and maintenance, and we also do contract line, you know, so those two get kind of, but what happens is if you don't do it here, it shows up here. You know, if you're not doing this, this number gets bigger on you in a hurry because for one, now you're getting charged every time they come out for another like show up fee and everything else, so. It's a work, like I have to manage this like throughout the whole year, you know, I still making decisions if they're up in Hebron working on a furnace. I gotta shut them down, like, no, you can't spend more than this, you know, to repair it because it's not worth that. You know, like there's still, we'll replace it before we, you know, keep spending money on something that's 25 years old or stuff like that. So there's still a lot of management involved in this. And I give, like for controls, is the biggest one. And we have a list every month or quarter with this system. That we have them work, you know, and you can imagine with buildings this big, efficiency is a huge deal. So every bit of fuel, you know, whether it be natural gas or electricity or whatever, we save, you know, adds up in a hurry. So you don't want your equipment, you know, struggling to run, that's what happens to the system this big. One little thing gets out of whack, these units run way more than they're supposed to.
No, with this contract, will it give you priority over somebody else? If there is a incident here that they need to respond to, they'll come running.
If I call, they jump.
Okay.
That's really what's worked well.
You had a question?
He's like, where is that?
That was the best benefit of going with them to do multiple things was it was hard to get people here. Like you'd have a section of the jail down and you would call, you know, a service company when I first started here and they'd schedule you for Thursday of next week. Well, no, sorry, then we can't come, you know.
Yeah.
You gotta remember, we're not using usually like a local contractor all the time because they can't do the paperwork and they don't have the capabilities of paying prevailing wage, which we have to, providing all the proper paperwork, which as we know in government, and all of us face that same thing, the cost goes up, but we're covered. So when we get audited, we have all the certified payrolls, we have all that. Most local contractors, you know, don't want to deal with that. You know, it's a different animal.
Bill?
Were these contracts bid originally?
Yes. They were first time. The controls, I can tell you, probably was not.
before I started, they put out the bid to do the controls, an overhaul of our whole control package throughout the whole county. And Automated Logic is the brand and the company that won that bid. And the only other people that are allowed to work on, that's like the sole source. You would have to call outside of this Northeast to get another contractor to work on that kind of control, that system.
I guess we're ready to vote. All those in favor of sending this to finance?
Right.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries, it's going to finance, that way you get your numbers.
I think there's just one in there that I was reviewing this morning and I'm like, I'm gonna walk through with my guys and be like, get this out of there, cause we can do, they have the whole list, but we can get some of that out of there and do it ourselves.
Do you have anything else, Matt?
Oh, yeah. There's updates. Burgoyne and Middle Falls projects are both completed. Might be things that my guys are doing a little bit down there, but the contracts are completed. I believe there's one contract left to close out that I'm working with, and that's the plumbing contract for Middle Falls. Did him, Al the other day, a bunch of filled out paperwork.
Let me do my finance.
So getting ahead of me a little bit. I gotta just review what I have to get some numbers together to see like 100% on those two. The plumbing contract won't be, that'll go through this next cycle. I do know, I just looked at their last final pay up, so we just got them the substantial completion and stuff, and everything. That's also a credit.
What you probably will know by finance, so if you correct me if I'm wrong, what you probably will know by finance is important to you is what the closeout number will be, even if it hasn't been paid, right?
Yeah.
That number you probably will then.
Yeah,
That will be.
and when I say close out,
Becky will actually reduce the PO, so you can actually see
Oh, perfect.
so the things that Matt predicted would happen, you're finally gonna get to see on paper. Right?
I always
The
like that.
money that we moved from contingency, because his guys did some of the stuff, and you couldn't recognize the decrease in the other projects, you're gonna start seeing all of that now come to fruition. You'll be pleased,
so I think all of them are right now making it, so that's, so. I'll definitely have, and that goes for Fort Ann also, for finance, I'll have a financial update for all three projects. So, I think, like he said, those numbers will be as good as full for Paulson. And, because they're done. We're not paying out any more contracts. And anything that I do to the building will just be out of my regular maintenance, budget, instead of out of capital projects. Fort Ann, we're not that far. Yesterday, construction bulletin was released for the design of the fire system, the fire suppression system booster pump, and the potable water. So the contractors have it. I think it incorporates the plumbing contract, the electrical contract, and the site contract, because they're all gonna have a bit, some pieces of it. I have a meeting scheduled for Thursday for them to, hopefully they've looked at it and they have any questions, so they can start putting together the proposals. That's what I plan on being a change order for those on the water pressure. I will have that same information for finance, so if it's all right with this committee to bring those, proposals for a change order for the water pressure up there to finance, I'll bring it there. Say I gotta bring it back here, we're gonna wait the next one. Bring it. Which is gonna be a delay with, getting the work done. So. Bring it.
I just, on the Fort project, off the top of your head, roughly of the punch list that was done of all the items that still hadn't been completed up there.
I have tomorrow afternoon, I got a walkthrough up there with my guys, and I've talked to Ronnie and whatever, and we're gonna walk through and a lot of that list. A lot of it has been completed. I know one contractor, two contractors, electric and the
General have been waiting for this construction bolting because they want to send guys up there all at once to finish that little bit of punch before they, you know, so when this comes out, they'll schedule it, and then they'll have them all there at the same time. So there is, I've tried to discourage them from that, you know, but yeah, you know, and it's a full operational building. I mean, as you can see, and Sam knows, we're using the building and there's already maintenance stuff, you know, there's stuff going on. We're into that a little bit, you know, repairing some things and.
Garage doors.
Yeah, garage doors, you know, more than one, the town and the county. Yeah, that place is jinxed. There's something about that playground up there that,
Oh, there is.
makes everything. But, yeah, we're working through all that stuff. And I think I can just have a good update for you at, finance. I figure that's fine. The last thing I just want to just touch on real briefly is I am working with, Sam and Fort Ann's council on the fuel system. And I'll just leave it at that right now. You know,
Sam, you wanted a further discussion. I guess I'm trying to figure out how to keep, so whether we have to go to executive session or not.
Yeah, I like to discuss the letter if we got back to the diversity. They haven't seen it.
They have, I mean, I think just a general discussion, I think we could probably do openly. As I think the board's where we've had some issues with who should be responsible for the fuel pump system. Approximately 3 weeks ago, I sent a letter to the plumbing contractor saying, according to the contract and the agenda, this is your responsibility, and if we don't hear from you shortly, we're going to make a reference to your surety to get it done. Yesterday afternoon, I received a letter from Plumbing Contractors Council, potentially, while I don't agree with some of the assertions he made as to why things got to where they got, they were willing to offer a meeting with county representatives, the town representatives, and the contractor to see if we can get it fixed out. So we're gonna be trying to schedule a meeting shortly to work that out.
Get it fixed out.
No, I just think that it's difficult to explain to taxpayers why that's not done. You know, it's like today we had a big fire at 48, we had a fire place up there, we had all kinds of mutual aid coming up there. Most of the fire trucks that have been there hadn't had fuel tanking, would have probably topped off right there before they went back to the. And the fact that the tanks are in, it's costing. You know, the trucks from Fort Edward that used to be here are now Fort Ann. So now they've got to run down here to Greenville or to Whitehall to get the gas. You got extra hours put on them next to wear and tear in the vehicles. It's just a mess, and this company that's responsible for it, to try to find any loophole they can to get out of it. It's frustrating.
So we have been trying to push him to finish the job and hopefully come to a resolution shortly. We don't need to say anything else.
no,
Anything else, Matt?
that's it. Perfect. All right.
Thank you. Okay, Dan, you waited long enough.
Yeah, well, infamous words of an attorney, I'll try to be brief. Okay, recently received paperwork regarding a new potential opioid settlement with what they refer to as the 6 remnant defendants, which are the distributors regarding certain opioids. The settlement amount total is nationwide is $97,625,000. Our allocation, if we are to prepare or to participate in that settlement, would be 0.01195647113% of that figure, which Al, you can correct my math on that, but it appears to be about $1,167,250.51, give or take. Which would be a one-time
payment, which would be required to. We are to opt into the settlement. We have to do so by Star Wars Day, May the 4th, 2026. So depending on if we wish to participate in the settlement, we would need a resolution to authorize the chairman to sign the necessary documents to do so.
What was the nationwide amount?
97,625,000 nationwide.
There's no way we're getting a million.
That's too bad. Huh?
As I said, I took this percentage and multiplied it against that number, and that's the number I came up with.
What's this
2%.
What's this money have to be used? The sheriff's department?
It is for,
Each settlement's different, Chairman.
it could be for naloxone, it could be for pregnant and postpartum women, it could be for medication assisted treatment and distribution, it could be for preventive programs.
So it's reserved uses.
and
It's
reserved
all
uses.
reserved, there's no unreserved in that at all.
There could be some unreserved uses, but as the paperwork indicates, it's generally frowned upon.
We usually, there was a percentage because we were paying for some of the stuff in the sheriff department, I think was unreserved. Weren't we? Or was that
Well,
reserved?
you as a board decided to reserve all of them.
Okay,
been
so
using-
we put that under the reserve category.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So is there a motion to move this, Chairman?
Yeah.
They made the motion. Wait a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Dividing it 17 times.
Okay, the other issue I wanted to put up for the board's consideration is potential home rule legislation to amend Public Officers Law, Section 3, which would hopefully allow me to have a deputy that resides outside of the county. The deputy position has been open for the past just over 6 months. As everyone is aware, it took me almost a year to fill the assistant position. This Public Officers Law, Section 3, I would dare say there are more exceptions than there are rules.
My big question is, even if we do this, the county attorney is still by state law, it has to be.
Yeah, county attorney has to be a resident. That's one of the things I have to look into, because I notice I've asked for Attorney General's opinion on the matter.
Because usually you have to
Because-
be the same.
Right,
role,
a
so
lot
that's
of
why-
the exceptions say it doesn't apply to the first assistant. There is one exception where they are allowing the Putnam County attorney not to be a resident of Putnam County. So that's why I'm asking for,
Well, we have a Putnam in our county, will that work?
No, Brian.
only if there's an attorney living up there.
So.
I'll give it the rationale I'm asking is I honestly, you all know why. I'm not expecting to be able to fill the position anytime soon. It would give me some flexibility at budget time. It would give me some flexibility as far as the staff that I currently have.
Do you think they'll give you an answer by personnel?
It's,
I'd hate to enact something.
no, I know. I mean, it's, what this does is, this says we're requesting our legislators to put this legislation forward. So I may have an answer by then, I may not. And whether the legislature chooses to act on it or not, it's an entirely different story as well.
I have a problem with making a motion to move it to personnel.
Are you making a
I'll
motion?
make a motion to move it to personnel.
There a second for discussion? Stu makes a motion for discussion.
And unless I missed something, Dan, this is just a resolution to request home rule. This is only the first step.
Yeah.
This is quote unquote the easy one.
I just don't want him to have to go another month if he gets
Right,
his
so,
answer.
right, this requesting
We're trying to
home
go
rule is
here.
the easy part.
Ready to vote?
All those,
John?
Yes.
we're trying to draw everything closer to Washington County. This allows us to go out of Washington County with other aspects of our law enforcement.
Well, here's part of the problem we have right now is that God forbid something happens to me tomorrow, you technically don't have anyone who can act as county attorney. Because both my assistants right now, one lives in Warren County, one lives in Saratoga County.
And that's why I asked the question I did, because if you're allowed that, but then they can't take your place, we still don't have a county.
Right, and I think that's part of what hopefully the exception, if they take it forward, would take care of. As I said, it's not my preference. I've had discussions with 6 or 7 different people over the course of the last 6-7 months. And as I said, I don't need to harp on what the reason. We all know in large part what the reason is. But you know, as I said, nothing else, it might give me some more options.
And you can have answers you're hoping by personnel.
Yeah, I've already asked the Attorney General's office for an opinion. They're usually pretty good about getting those out quickly. As well.
Yeah, can I just ask you, what are the reasons? The pay?
That's the main reason. You know, I've asked a number of attorneys who were working outside the county that I knew live in the county. One was an assistant public defender in another county who was making more than I am. Same thing with a person who used to be an assistant county attorney here, who's now working for the state. One person currently works for the county, but they wanted to stay in the area that they practice in, even though it would have been salary increase. So it's you know, it's difficult. That's the only way I can put it. I mean, I know that, for example, just to give you an example, the first assistant county attorney in Essex County, which only has, I think, 2, maybe 3 attorneys in their office, makes $25,000 more than I do. So it makes it hard to get a deputy when most of the people in deputy positions are making I am.
Okay, the motion's on the floor with a second, move this to personnel. They're ready to vote. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Personnel.
Thank you. That's all I have.
Is there anything else? Stand adjourned.